Well, and then after this, we
Gotta
got
teach him how to not chew up darts from Nerf
Are you going to
guns.
go with me to Jason's?
Yeah, but that's not till 11, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We got a little bit of time.
All
Okay.
right, here
Oh,
we
wait,
go.
what time is it?
In 3, 2,
Welcome back, Real People, Real Life, Wichita, Kansas.
America!
We got you guys. And still with us right now, we do have Mike and Mary Jane Virtus here from Wichita, Kansas. And we were talking about earlier the ministry that you have and kind of how that's evolved. And starting soon, there'll be either a Facebook Live opportunity or a YouTube opportunity.
And anyone can join. They don't have to wait for
That's
approval. They can
Yeah.
just
That's right.
wake
I
up, hear
love
about
that.
it, and join. Yeah,
I
that's
love
great.
that, and I think it's
It'll
very
be on
needed.
Tuesday nights starting at 7 p.m. We already know the
Sweet.
time frame on that, yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent.
We wanted to get back into the homeless and moving them from being there and stuck in that cycle, to getting away from that. One of the things this year that I found was very interesting, a lot of people thought that we had no place here for families. That's not true. We found
Yeah,
out
we
do.
did find out from Interfaith Ministries that they actually do accommodate families
Yeah.
now that are in dire straits.
Then the next thing was people said that we had nothing for people that did have severe mental health issues, and now Interfaith Ministries has one of those. So I know what we've already gone into, what Interfaith can do. I want to know what you're doing and how you can. What
Well,
you're
I
doing.
think ultimately, I think what has to happen is that we talked about the aspect of hope in the other segment. That has to be given. But then there's basic, what we used to call in the mental health profession, we used to call basic living skills. There's concepts of living
ADLs,
skills.
yep.
Well, and they have to be learned. For an individual that has never awakened at 6 o'clock to get to a job that starts at 8 o'clock, they have to learn those skills.
Right.
They have to learn, once they get onto those particular job sites, they have to learn how to interact with other employees. And so there's a lot that goes into it. In the mental health world, there's a concept, a program called Fountain House Clubhouses. They're all over the world. They do a phenomenal job. They have the best track record. In fact, President Kennedy started in 1947. President Kennedy stated that it should be the treatment of choice for the government to provide funding for persons with severe and persistent mental illnesses. Well, that model doesn't work just with individuals with mental illnesses where they go to an environment, they're there 4 to 8 hours, or whatever time they choose to be there, but their program's open 8 hours a day, 7 days a week normally.
Wow.
And then they learn how to do basic things like cook and prepare food and get along and do paperwork and all those basic things where they're learning some aspects of job skills as well as relational skills. And then those programs have what they call transitional employment, where they place the person on a job site with a job coach, which again, vocational rehabilitation has been charged with. Most voc rehab people don't know this, but they've been charged with that for persons with severe mental illnesses, that they follow what's called the transitional employment model of employment, which is a temporary part-time job to where a person goes to work. If they like it, they stay on it for 6 to 8 months, and then they transition off of that. If they don't like it or it doesn't work out, they can come off. But you look at the success that they tried and try to improve upon the things. That needs to take place not just within the mental health population, but because so many of the mentally ill are also homeless, those transitions that have worked. And that's the thing about it that people need to understand. There is a model that has worked.
And that's the one that from the 19.
That
It came from
Kennedy came up
1940.
with.
Well, Kennedy endorsed it. It started in 1947 with a guy that worked at a mental hospital in Cleveland by the name of John Beard. And he was hired, a bunch of mental patients started meeting on the steps, meeting at the fountain behind where the original New Yorker was, a New York magazine.
Really?
And they decided, we've gone about as far as we can, we have a place to go to, let's hire this professional. And they heard about this guy named John Beard who was taking mental patients and putting them back in the workforce and helping people gain their independence. So they hired him. I mean, the model existed prior to the hiring of a mental health professional. Now, since then, it's become diluted and some things have happened. But there's still some really good, strong clubhouse programs. And again, they're literally all over the world. And
Do we have one here?
there's one in Wichita called Breakthrough Club
Okay.
that is similar to, I would not
Okay.
consider them a purist model. They're close to the concept. It's a good program. But there's some specifics to where I would not call them a purist, what I would consider a purist model. But those concepts with the homeless, because there's somebody that are mentally ill, how is it that a person learns to wake up? How, if you don't like your coworker, all the things that we know. If you have an apartment that's a HUD housing apartment, which most of those individuals will end up having when they go first get into housing, How is it that you learn to put the butter up instead of leaving it sitting out? Because butter sitting out in a HUD apartment is a violation of code. You've got to refrigerate it. And so how do you teach those type of skills? I think something has to be in place where those skills are learned and taught. Now, are there some people that can jump right in, right away, and go to work with a little bit of assistance? Absolutely. But I think that that's the minority of people.
I think you're right.
Well, I think, like you said, with the mental health, I think the homeless share that. They lose that social aspect, and it has to be regained. Like they lose it along with hope.
Yeah.
And that socializing is a huge part of being successful.
Yeah.
You know, in this world, I mean, being able to hold a job, being able to keep an apartment, whether you're transitioned to it or not, you know, you have to think about that next step as well.
And then if there's substance abuse issues on top of that,
Then that's a whole nother ballgame.
and then people what happens with a lot of people that are homeless and are mentally ill, the clinical term is they self-medicate.
Right.
What that means is they start drinking and doing a little bit of weed or whatever it is they happen to find. Unfortunately, nowadays there's stuff like K2 that's out there to escape their reality. And we were talking about this yesterday. Alcohol still yet today is the greatest contributor to keeping people homeless.
I believe that. And
Because it's the most affordable.
Right. The second thing that we found out in Wichita on the streets that's causing a lot of the problems is prescription drugs.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just, you know, and then the
Well, that's actually the number one problem on the street.
on the streets, but
as
for
far as
homeless,
for homeless,
it's alcohol and then the prescription drugs and then all the other stuff too. Have you ever had city officials and or state officials contact you and say, hey, you've been doing this for a long time, you obviously have answers, you obviously have solutions. Has anybody ever contacted you?
Officer Nate with the homeless outreach team is really good.
Okay, yeah, I like those guys.
I talked to Nate this week. Our councilwoman Lavonta Williams, we've spoken a number of times as well. Are there others? Not like I would like. There was one time that we put in a bid to run a program that would have been open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, that would have served and housed upwards of about 40 people and then be able to provide services to about 200 people a day. Wow. The grant request for that was $237,000. That grant was denied to accept a program for a $300,000 program that would serve 5 people a day, or 5 people for 5 days a week.
You know, I said something
So
this morning.
there's politics involved, and it's still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's, you know, I don't know.
That's sad.
I've been hearing people and they get really irritated and they're saying, you know, that we have no resources and we don't care, you know, about our area homeless and we don't care about our area
That's
hungry.
simply not true.
And I don't think that that's true.
We were talking about this earlier about
Yeah.
the difference between Wichita and Houston. I was just down in Houston. I've been in other places. Fresno,
Yeah.
California is, and I'm telling you,
Man.
it's something else.
Denver.
yeah, it is.
But Wichita, there really is something that brought me back to Kansas. The spirit of the people. Kansas in Wichita, this area, there's a lot of loving, caring people
I agree.
who want to do good. I think that sometimes knowing how to do good may be the question.
That's the question.
But that they're loving and they really do want to do, and they really care.
Right,
So-
yeah. I think that's, you know, how many, just if you were to, you know, take a guesstimate, how many facilities that you know of are providing either homeless services and or feeding people that maybe are homeless and or don't have enough funds all the time to feed their entire family? How many places, just out of curiosity?
I mentioned Breakthrough Club a moment
Yeah.
ago. And again, it's not what I would consider the best. It's a very good clubhouse. But even they have received serious funding issues, and they've had to cut to the bone because of the lack of funding available. And they're providing a service that, I talk about the transitional employment program, that actually provides a rate of return back to the government. I spoke specifically to Mike Pompeo about this. And
Oh,
he
you
didn't-
did?
and
My
he
buddy
didn't get
Mike?
it. And he didn't get it.
God!
I'm trying to tell him, here's a program that if you spend $1 of government funding on this particular program, it returns $1.67. Seems like a good conservative value deal to me. That you spend $1, you get $1.67. You know, that's better than any kind of bank interest rate. But he didn't
Yeah.
get it. But there's programs like that, and society. Unfortunately, in this sick world and the sick political system that we live in, people have to. You know about this.
Oh boy, don't I!
Yeah, and how if somebody can tell me the secret to getting into a politician's head to think outside of politics, you know, let me know,
That's
because we'll
part
make
of it.
millions of dollars because
Yeah.
they're so stuck into their way of thinking
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
that they're unwilling to think out of the box and think about this program, transitional employment, this clubhouse concept, providing assistance and help. It has worked, and it makes money because if you get someone who's on disability,
Right.
and all of a sudden they become a taxpayer, and they're paying taxes, you know,
It's a win-win in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big part of the problem. And I said this and people got mad at me, but you know, we have all these politicians and we have all these actors and actresses and musicians and, you know, and not all churches, but I do think maybe some churches, you know, that if they really wanted to pay attention to some of the problems instead of pretending or talking like they, oh yeah, you know, like some people recently have been talking about how they know how the common person is and how the common person is doing. And I'm over here going, bleh, no, you know. And they don't even want to listen. And you can give them solutions. You can break it down in pennies and
You
cents.
have to
And
wonder.
why?
I don't think they're looking for solutions.
That's what I wonder sometimes.
I think that's been thrown out the window, and they're filling pockets now, scratching backs.
They're filling pockets and they're building egos.
Yeah,
Ego's a big problem.
Yeah.
Big problem. Mike, how can somebody get a hold of you here in Wichita? And again, how many of the homeless are you able to help at one time? I know you're limited on
Well,
that.
we've moved to the place where we're trying to help the homeless that want to help themselves.
Right.
And then others that need help, we're referring to other agencies and so forth. We're collaborating with other agencies to try to do our part and let them do their part. But contact me at Facebook, Mike Furchess at Facebook, or Mosaic Wichita. We have a website, www.mosaicwichita.com, or thevirtualpew.com is another way to access me. Or you can call me, 316-807-8034.
One more time.
316-807-8034.
There you go. Okay, Mike.
America.
America. Wichita, Kansas, America. I want to say thank you both.
Okay.
Love you
Yes.
both so much. You're
it's
my
so nice meeting you.
I just knowing when you guys got back in town, I think I may have even shared this with you on Facebook. My heart and everything was like, Mike's back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was good to get. This time it was really good to get. Sometimes when we're at the beach,
Yeah,
it's not always
tough
so
to come
good.
back.
It's tough.
I know. Yeah.
This time was really good to get back home.
Good.
What?
Yeah, you coming back from the beach? We know how that is.
I love the beach.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
the beach too.
yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
Houston. It was,
Yeah, that was
easy to
different.
get
That was different. Yeah.
From Houston,
Yeah.
the beach is hard to come here.
From the Gulf Coast,
yeah.
the Panhandle, Panama
Man.
City, it's a whole different
That's a
world.
whole different story. All right, Wichita, you know we love you. We'll see you in a little bit.
Wichita, Kansas, America.
Uh huh.